Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Playing for Keeps, a Bishop family novel by D.A. Young, narrated by Winston James and Jair Bush. 1. Then, Las Vegas, Nevada. Why are we here again? The only thing that we should be doing while we're up this early in the morning is laying out by the pool with a game of spades on lock. Adonis Grayon stared up at the Thomas and Mack arena in front of them. Behind his sunglasses, he blinked groggily as he shifted to face his equally sluggish best friend cousin, Ezekiel Easy Cooper, who was stretching beside him. After a late night of kicking it tough and getting semi-shit-faced drunk, the last thing he wanted to do was be up this fucking early with a blaring hangover. He needed a greasy food and strong-ass Bloody Mary fix, and fast.
I agree, but this is where Clay said to meet him. Bruh, we're staying at a first-class resort. Did you really bring a deck of cards to Vegas when we could easily hit the crap tables later?
Easy smiled ruthlessly at Adonis. Hell yeah. As much shit as him and his brother talk in our group text, you thought they'd leave unscathed? We serving their asses when Omari hits town. I don't care if it is Clay's birthday either. He glanced around the crowded parking lot and the line of buses at the front where groups of female basketball players were disembarking.
This some type of tournament?
Yeah, it's an invitational. Clay's co-worker was supposed to cover it, but she got food poisoning last night. Good thing he was already in town and able to step in. Hopefully it leads to more of the airtime he's been wanting. I suppose it's even better for him that the dancer he went home with lives around here, too. Adonis reached behind him to grab the duffel bag of clothes and shoes Clay had requested from the back seat. He hopped out of his Range Rover and his cousin followed suit from the passenger side. They started the long walk across the crowded parking lot.
Yo, this Vegas heat ain't nothing to play with, Easy grumbled. It's hot as balls out here.
He pulled a collapsible bucket hat from the back pocket of his jeans and slapped it on his head. Man, quit crying, Adonis laughed. It's only 85 degrees.
And climbing,
Easy felt obliged to point out, chuckling.
You worried about being recognized out here?
Adonis shook his head. Nah, I'm pretty low-key today. Easy chuckled at that, eyeing the olive green 70s-inspired short-sleeve crochet polo with embroidered flowers on the shoulders Adonis had on. He'd paired it with white, straight-legged, textured trousers and white designer leather slip-ons. His amusement earned him a questioning look from his cousin. What's so funny?
You. Man, between being a soccer star, your looks, and having a great sense of style, you're the furthest thing from low-key. For example, take today's fit. You're rocking the equivalent of someone's monthly mortgage payment. We ain't even gonna talk about your bling.
Then why'd you bring it up? Adonis shrugged unapologetically. I work hard to play hard and enjoy my earnings however I choose. The goal is to do everything I want with the people who mean the world to me. You know how I do. Yes, Easy did. His cousin was beyond generous with his loved ones and ensured they reaped the benefits of his financial success. For example, Adonis had paid off the balance on Easy's school loans and purchased his 2-bedroom condo as graduation gifts. Family never had to pay with him.
True. And I ain't mad at you, Don. I'm not saying you lived the stunt. I'm just saying the term low-key isn't exactly in your vocabulary.
Noted. Look, there goes Clay's ass right there. Their friend was still dressed in last night's club attire, down to his Miami Cuban link chain. He spotted them at the same time from across the parking lot and took off in an awkward sprint in their direction. Adonis lifted his shades, squinting to get a better look at their uncoordinated homie. He moves like a newborn colt or something. Easy cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled.
Run, Forrest! Run!
Adonis winced at his elevated voice. Hungover here, remember? Chill with the hollering, fam. Fellas, thanks for coming through. Clay's light brown skin was dotted with sweat when he finally reached them. Fuck you, Easy. I heard that shit. He pushed his Poindexter glasses up on his nose and took the bag from Adonis with a relieved look. Sorry about the cracker down call. Do you want to stick around? The talent here is off the charts today, so the games will be solid. Adonis stared him down. Yeah? Was the pole hottie amazing too? Because you sure as shit violated bro code by going rogue last night. Your ass just dipped. Didn't even give us a heads up that you weren't in the penthouse.
Yeah, man. If you hadn't called Don, we wouldn't have known you ghosted us and left the hotel property.
My bad, Clay said, flushing. You guys are right. I should have said something. Don't worry, you'll understand once you meet Dee Dee. She's fantastic. I've never met anyone like her. Easy started whistling I'm in love with a stripper under his breath. Adonis laughed while Clay punched the jokester in the arm. Cut the shit. You'll see what I mean. Say, can anyone spot me at 20? I couldn't find my wallet this morning. Adonis swapped a knowing look with Easy as he handed the sucker, Clay, the requested cash. Man, please tell me you canceled all of your cards. Thanks, Don. No, not yet. It's probably somewhere on Dee Dee's bedroom floor. She told me that she'd look for it while I was here.
Your gullible, thirsty ass wants to be in love so bad, Easy muttered, raising his eyes to the sky, clearly aggravated by his naivete. Clay glanced at his watch and thrust the passes in his other hand at them. Gotta go. Here, stick around, though. This will only take a couple of hours. Brunch is on me once I get my wallet back. Dude, you're not getting it back. Adonis broke the news to him, exasperated. You don't know that, Clay insisted, backpedaling. Just because I've called her 6 times this morning and she hasn't answered means nothing. It means everything, bruh,
Easy shouted, laughing hysterically at his ass. By the way, Corinne Bishop is inside watching his daughter play. Feel free to go fangirl, Ezekiel. They watched him run off and then looked at each other surprised.
Did he just say Corinne Bishop?
Growing up, Easy hero-worshipped the famous wide receiver. He lived in his jerseys and carried his football around everywhere, reenacting his moves spontaneously, annoying everybody, family and friends alike. The football player had volunteered at their local community center over the years and gotten to know the cousins. Adonis grinned and clasped his shoulder. He sure did. I take it we're going in? Man, I want to see somebody stop me. Let's roll. It was her moves that snatched his attention first. While Easy was busy talking his idol's ears off, Adonis was locked in on number 23, a.k.a. Mr. B's daughter. Straight out the gate, Corinne Bishop was a dynamic ball of energy with confidence radiating from every pore on her body. She was all gas, no brakes with her smooth, sick-ass handles and no-look passes. It was hard for Adonis to look away from her for even a second. Since they were two people who literally never took their eyes off the ball, he recognized a kindred spirit from some of her traits. Determined, unstoppable, and highly competitive as she knocked down threes in her opponent's face and stripped her of the ball and her confidence. She's really good, Mr. B, Adonis remarked after watching Corinne hit a fadeaway. The proud dad nodded without taking his eyes off the court.
Tell me something that I don't know. Cori's been playing since she fell in love with the game at 6 years old. A buddy of mine used to hoop up at Venice Beach and always invited me to come watch. I finally did and brought Cori with me. It was as if a switch came on inside of her. She was fascinated and asked me a million questions. When my friend was done playing, she started in on him. Dorian was so taken by her that he canceled the rest of his games for the day to teach her the basic fundamentals of basketball. Adonis smiled as Corinne raced by them, her face set in concentrated lines. She was hooked, huh? Kareem laughed. Like a fiend. It was never just one game either. Sun would be high in the sky when we arrived and setting by the time I dragged her out of there, always with the promise to return soon.
He looked at Adonis.
But you get it, right? I remember coming by the center to have lunch with Marcus and Claudia Glover and watching you play soccer a few times. You were a beast out there. They used to tell me you'd be out there so long the streetlights would come on and you'd be tempted to catch hell from your mama just to play a while longer. Adonis laughed at his accurate description, but was surprised by that news. You watched. How'd you know it was me?
Kareem nudged Easy, who sat on his other side. You hear this mess? Now how would I know it was him?
Because Don was always the only brother out there speaking English and calling the game soccer instead of football.
Kareem nodded, laughing. I mean, that stuck out like a sore thumb in a sea of Spanish. But he could hang. Besides, I'll never forget the first time your mama showed up. She practically bathed you in sunscreen after finding out you skipped putting some on. Adonis grinned, recalling his embarrassment at the time. He fingered the platinum rope chain he wore around his neck devotedly. The attached cross was engraved with his mother's name, Lorna May, and he faithfully kissed it before every game. It had been 7 years since his mother passed when he was just 17, and he'd moved in with her sister's family. Lorna May had been the best role model and parent a kid could have asked for. She'd been his biggest supporter, and since his birth, it had been the two of them against the world. She'd worked 3 jobs to provide for them, never once complaining, to ensure Adonis didn't have to go without. On weekdays, Lorna May worked front desk at the community center. On weeknights, she was a waitress. During the weekend, she was a page at the Los Angeles Library. At her insistence, he'd become fluent in Spanish, French, and Mandarin. He played not only soccer but tennis and some basketball also. She'd made sure that he saw some of the country and world by taking him out of Los Angeles during his school breaks. Lorna May only had one requirement for their travels. Pick a place, baby. We'll go anywhere you want, but you'd best make sure that wherever you choose, by the time we get there, you're educated on the location. You ain't about to have us out here looking foolish. Adonis was the president of the chess club and a member of the debate team all 4 years of high school, even after Lorna May passed. Her death damn near destroyed him, yet he knew that he had to keep going, not only for his sake but for hers too. His mama had invested her life in his. Adonis was determined to make sure that it hadn't been in vain. I mean, she pulled my ass out of the game and everything, shaming me. Adonis laughed, and the other men joined in. I've never gone without sunscreen since.
I was sorry to hear of Lorna May's passing. She was a good woman that raised a great kid.
I know she'd be proud of the man you've become, Kareem replied solemnly. The Glovers had held her wake at the recreation center, and the community had shown up big for a beloved member's passing. Thanks. I appreciate you saying that. Adonis fell silent, holding his breath when Corinne went to the free throw line on a loose ball foul. She dribbled the basketball, her bottom lip tucked between her teeth before smoothly sinking both shots and then racing to get back on defense. As she passed them, Corinne only had eyes for her father. She pointed at him, her tongue hanging out.
I see you, baby girl, Kareem shouted, pointing back at her. Don't let up on them.
Adonis liked that she was having fun with her game. He liked it a little too much because gradually he started to notice other things, such as how flawless her golden brown skin was, and the fire flashing in her wide-set eyes, which were framed by thick, curling lashes, and her pointy chin with the tiny indentation of fortitude in the center. A smattering of freckles kissed her nose, and her bottom lip was much fuller than her top, but curved into the prettiest smile he'd ever seen, as she enjoyed being in her element. These arresting features were set in a fine-boned face that was capped by a mop of raven coils, giving her an enchanting pixie look. Simply put, Adonis was awestruck by Corinne's talent, her beauty, and the effect she was having on him. It was mind-blowing how consumed he'd become by her in such a short time. He was too hyped for her, cheering her and her team on alongside Kareem and Easy. Like the crowd, he went ballistic when she fell back, putting up a big 3 in her opponent's face just as the clock ran out. After the game, Adonis hung back respectfully when she approached her father. He tried to ignore the way Corinne's baggy uniform failed to hide her enticing shape, but failed spectacularly. She was tall and fit, with curves in all the right places. Adonis blew out a breath and tried to control his skyrocketing heartbeat in anticipation of an introduction. Damn, he'd never been this nervous, not even on his game days, he mused internally. Immediately, she leaped into Kareem's arms, a captivatingly goofy laugh on her lips as he lifted her high in the air. Dad, did you see that fadeaway?
You know I did. Congratulations, baby girl.
Adonis was shocked to experience a brief twinge of jealousy at the deep affection between them as they chatted animatedly. He shrugged it off, feeling incredibly silly, because that was her pops. They should be celebrating her victory together. Considering his own fatherless upbringing, their bond was heartwarming to witness.
"You're staring,"
Easy murmured beside him.
"You're not seriously thinking of trying it with her, are you? Because I don't think Mr. B would take too kindly to such an interest in his baby. He's justifiably overprotective of her."
I know, man, but look at her. Can you honestly blame me for staring?
"No, but try to wipe the drool from your bottom lip and be less obvious about your interest. I don't want to have to fight my idol because he busted your impulsive ass up all over this basketball court."
The nervous energy coursing through Adonis refused to let him be sidetracked by his cousin's teasing. When Kareem finally set Corinne down and they made direct fucking eye contact, the air rattled around in his lungs before he released it slowly. She stared him dead in the face with a bold curiosity. Although her mink-brown eyes rippled with unspoken questions, they held not one iota of recognition. Adonis was unsure of whether to be relieved or offended.
"Cori, I want you to meet some old friends of mine. I've known them since their elementary school days. This is Ezekiel Cooper, one of the coolest cats I know. Man, this dude right here used to follow me around the William Glover Community Center and talk my ears numb."
Easy gave a shout of laughter at Kareem's correct description.
"Ha! Hey, but I must have been saying all the right things, because you never kicked me to the curb, which I've always appreciated. By the way, hey, Cori, call me Easy. Everyone does. You played a hell of a game."
She shook his hand with a friendly smile. "Thanks. It's nice to meet you, Easy." Ezekiel reminded Cori of a teddy bear, a rather appealing, solid teddy bear with soulful eyes, colorful tats on his neck and arms, and short twists with honey blonde tips that contrasted splendidly with his ochre-hued skin. He was handsome, yes, however, it was his companion that had captured her attention and made her heart race like she was still sprinting up and down the basketball court as he silently watched her. He was about 6'4", and his beautiful complexion reminded Cori of a cooking class she'd taken with her mother and sister last summer in Monterrey, Mexico. This particular lesson was on authentic mole. She wasn't sure if her mouth was watering, because his skin reminded her of the sauce's sumptuous color and velvety texture, or because of how downright fucking beautiful he was with those curved, noble features and that neatly cropped beard caressing his jaw. The honed intensity of his smoky gaze and the pure energy and confidence he radiated, along with being effortlessly stylish, made Cori acutely aware of her own sweaty, smelly, rumpled existence. For some reason, that severely irked her. "And you are?" she challenged huskily. What he was a sleek, glorious union of power and muscle that exhilarated and terrified Cori at the same time. She was tall and able to look most men in the eye, but this man had a way of making her feel small and fragile next to him. Kareem's eyebrows dipped at her inquiry.
"Honey, you don't know who this is?"
He sounded so incredulous that Cori's annoyance spiked. She barely offered Adonis a cursory once-over before concentrating on wiping the perspiration from her face with the towel a ball boy tossed her way in passing. "No clue whatsoever, Dad. Should I?" she huffed. Adonis winced. Meanwhile, Easy did nothing to stifle his glee.
"Sorry, cuz. Can't win 'em all,"
he quipped, elbowing him. Seeing the twinkle in her father's eyes and the blatant amusement on Easy's face, Cori's brow folded in consternation. She hazarded another look Adonis's way, searching his face. He stared back at her in rapt attention. After a long, charged moment of racking her brain, she shook her head, and Adonis's fingers itched to slide through her damp, disarrayed curls that flopped around her forehead with the motion. Look, I'm sorry, but I have no idea who you are," Cori reiterated, a rueful grin on her lips. "I'm guessing a big deal?" Trying to ignore his risky thoughts of the sweat droplets clinging enticingly to her neck and the rapid rising and falling of her chest, Adonis cleared his throat, a slow, warm smile covering his mouth. "You have nothing to be sorry for. I'm Adonis Grayon. You balled your ass off out there, Corinne. Congrats on the win. It's more than deserved." The trifecta of pearly white teeth, His beautiful features and that confident, hypnotic voice had her blinking slowly at Adonis. Then she smiled shyly at him, and he experienced the impact of its loveliness squarely in his chest, which left him somewhat staggered. "Thanks, Adonis Grayson. And please, just Cori. No one calls me Corinne." She crossed her eyes at Kareem playfully. "At least not unless I'm in trouble. It was a pleasure meeting you both." Although she spoke directly to the men, Cori's gaze remained on Adonis. Backing away, she crinkled her nose adorably. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to hit the showers." She dashed off, leaving the tantalizing image of her soaping down, searing Adonis's brain, and his dick chubbing. He instantly regretted that he hadn't even tried to shoot his shot with her, but he wasn't tripping. Instinct told him that this was the beginning of something special between them. The quick backward glance she gave him with the reciprocating interest on her face confirmed it. Once they said their goodbyes to Kareem, Adonis wasted no time hopping online to learn what he could about Corinne Bishop. 2. Now. Los Angeles, California. It was the same shit, just a different day. That was the most accurate way for Adonis to describe his current situation, the dumbass questions being hurled his way by the paparazzi. "Are you still beefing with Navarro? Was he really traded from the Hurricanes because you disliked the way he hummed his homeland national anthem before each game? Since we all know management caters to their golden boy, would you care to share your side? Adonis, why were you having lunch with Patra Jones? Are you two an item now? If so, what does BB Martinez have to say about it? You've been on a roll lately. First a singer and now a tennis player. Are you trying to build a roster? At $7.5 billion a year, you're the second highest paid player in MLS. Most people don't think you're worth that kind of money. What would you say to them?" Most people wouldn't fucking dare say that shit to his face, Adonis thought. The digs were meant to goad him into reacting as he patiently posed for selfies, signed autographs, and offered words of encouragement to some of his fans that had mobbed him as soon as he walked out of Kraft Steakhouse. It was LA's newest restaurant and had quickly become one of the city's hot spots to be seen and close business deals, which was all he'd come to do. On this particular day, Adonis had spotted several A-list actors, a country singer, and a director in attendance. He was positive that his agent, Trace Barnes, had bust a nut in his designer suit when he entered the dining room salivating. "What's your name, my guy?" Adonis asked a boy who wanted him to sign his skateboard. "Jamari. When I grow up, I'm going to be a striker, same as you, Mr. Grayson." Adonis grinned at him, enjoying the keen enthusiasm in the preteen's eyes. "Is that right? What position do you play now?" Jamari scrunched his face up into a bitter frown. "None. I wanted to try out for the school team, but was cut before I even touched the field. Coach ain't even trying to look at rookies. He had his assistant coach pull me aside, talking about some next year, but the same crap happened last year, too. It's not fair because I know everything there is to know about soccer. I just need a chance." Adonis nodded, listening intently. "Well, keep your head up and stay working on your skills, young king," he urged once Jamari finished. "Say, are you familiar with the William Glover Community Center?" "Yeah. It's a little far from my house, but my family goes to their Juneteenth celebration and Christmas program every year." "Cool. Listen. They just opened up a new sports facility, and I'll be hosting a free youth soccer camp there this summer. I'd love for you to join us if you're interested, Jamari." Adonis glanced around, making sure to connect with the other kids present. "I'm jumping the gun with this announcement, and my press secretary might kill me when she learns that I've let the cat out of the bag." He waited for the laughter to die down before adding, "All are welcome. It's 3 days a week with 6-hour sessions. 3 square meals each day, plus snacks and gear are included." The crowd buzzed with excitement and then laughed at Jamari's excited whooping until his face suddenly fell. "That sounds dope, Mr. Grayson, but I'll most likely have to babysit my 2 little brothers while my parents are at work." Adonis was happy that he could provide a solution for such a concern. "Then bring them with you, man. We anticipated this might be the case for some families and are happy to provide a daycare service also, free of charge." "Wow! Thanks, Mr. Grayson. I'll talk to my parents tonight." "You're welcome, Jamari. Hope to see you then." That mic drop amplified the crowd's enthusiasm. Adonis tried to give everyone his time and attention, but when the throng showed no signs of dispersing, Dolph, his security guard that doubled as his driver for these functions, finally intervened. When Adonis slipped into the black town car idling at the curb, Trace was already inside, perusing his phone. He looked up when Adonis joined him, smirking.
I see you finally escaped the masses.
They're cool. It's the press that's a bitch. Trace snorted his disgust.
Those fucking leeches. Be honest with me, man. Does it ever get old?
Adonis looked at him, eyebrows raised. What are we talking about? His agent scoffed at his obliviousness.
You know, the fans, man, the way they idolize you and aspire to be like you. Shit, if I were in your shoes, I'd feel like a fucking god.
And that was the difference between the former college roommates. Trace would sell his mother for fame and fortune, while Adonis would give his all away to have even one more hour with Lorna May. Well, I don't take them or anything for granted, that's for sure.
Patrick get to her vehicle okay? Sure did. Good call on leaving separately to confuse the pap smears. Ha ha!
Trace laughed crudely at his own joke.
Thanks for putting in a good word for me with her, too. My gut says we're going to make lots of beautiful contracts and heaps of moolah together.
Patra Jones was a former high school classmate of Adonis's. When Trace had discovered that, he'd asked him to facilitate a meeting between him and the tennis player. Adonis agreed, but he had also told Patra to follow her instincts since the agent's hyper-aggressive personality wasn't for everyone. Trace suddenly switched topics.
Christ, did you see the fucking talent in there, though? I almost orgasmed on the spot.
As if remembering his position, he pointed a finger Adonis's way.
But none was more important than you. I mean, honestly, what the fuck do I need anybody else for when you've got Gatorade, Nike, and Beats breathing down my neck? Oh, and I can't forget State Farm's ass-kissing for a long-term endorsement.
While his healthy paycheck was nothing to sneeze at, it was his endorsements that had Adonis sitting secure and quite pretty. He was a vibrant, profitable figure in the sports world, and companies were eager to make the most of his charisma. They believed in him and loved his altruist image, according to Trace. His signature collection for Nike had been a smashing success since its debut 5 years ago. Adonis enjoyed and took pride in the designs he'd helped to create each year. It was a beneficial relationship that he wouldn't mind continuing indefinitely.
Let's not forget we still need to take a look at Rolex's numbers. By the way, were you even remotely interested in Dancing with the Stars? They reached out this morning for next season.
There will be no dancing. I'll look over the Rolex proposal this weekend. We'll discuss it Monday. If I like what they're offering, make it clear to them that I only want to collaborate with Jade Davies on my design, if she's available. He was a huge admirer of the artist and gallery owner's bold, whimsical work. They'd met through her husband, Tommy Brewster, 4 months ago. Adonis was one of the former NBA star-turned-financial whizz's newest clients at Brewster Investments. During their first video meeting, he'd noticed the striking artwork displayed on his office walls in the background. By the end of their appointment, Jade had joined her husband on screen and answered his questions about her work. Adonis had decided on the spot to commission a portrait of his mother. Due to her booked schedule, Jade wouldn't start painting until later this year.
Got it. So what are you getting into tonight? You know what? Forget I asked. Me and baby are heading out in an hour to celebrate and fuck these streets up. Come with us. After the deal we just inked, drinks on me until you pass the fuck out. Responsibly, of course. He added, almost as an afterthought. What do you say?
The baby Trace was referring to was Givenchy, his 2-year-old chihuahua that hated his guts no matter how much he spoiled her. Adonis suspected that her dislike might have something to do with a strong aversion of the coordinated outfits Trace shoved her into daily.
I love how she makes me work for her love, you know? She's top bitch and doesn't let me forget that shit for a minute.
Normally, Givenchy went everywhere her owner did, except when the chef at Kraft threatened the possibility of Trace being the daily special since pets were not allowed at their establishment. No thanks. Once I get to the crib, I'm in for the night. His response earned him crazy eyes from Trace.
Buddy, what the fuck? You're going to be plastered on even more billboards around the world and you want to celebrate by eating lemon pepper flats in solitude? That's your idea?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?